Welcome to View Thunder, curated movie reviews that celebrate art, design, and cinematic storytelling. My name is Kyle, and I thank you for tuning in. On September 6th of 2023, Vulture.com published an article by Lane Brown titled The Decomposition of Rotten Tomatoes. This article claims that a publicity company called Bunker 15 actually paid some film critics for either their positive opinion or to shadow publish their negative reviews on blogs that Rotten Tomatoes doesn't check. I've never been a fan of the Rotten Tomatoes model of film criticism. The website's assessment of art lacks nuance, understanding, and critically, emotion. How can a percentage convey any of that when it comes to art? Judgment has always been present, whether it's a novel, a painting, or a film. Someone or some group has always taken it upon themselves to be the authority of what constitutes high and low art, important or trivial. With fine art versus illustration, while those critical judgments are present, they have been largely outside the general public arena. How many people look up a critique of a new painting before they've ever seen it? The very moment anyone lays eyes on a painting or sculpture, they can instantly tell whether it speaks to them or not. It doesn't take 2 hours of sitting in a darkened theater having spent $15 just on one ticket to find out. It's difficult to write a contrarian piece for public consumption about a painting. But long-form commercial storytelling such as novels and film can't be judged at a mere glance, which gave rise to the editorial think piece. Now the consumer of film could decide whether something was worth their time and money based on the opinion of someone who actually saw it. At least that's the idea. In the past, these arbiters of taste were separated by different publications and venues. Maybe your local paper had a film critic, or you read the New Yorker's Pauline Kael. Maybe you grew up with At the Movies, starring Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert on TV. Or maybe your best friend or family member recommended you see or avoid something. Over time, these disparate voices, along with your own emerging tastes, would inform you on who to trust. There was a relationship there. If Joe Critic hated a film, you might know to see it immediately. Critics are biased like anyone else. They want you to think they like all movies, but that just isn't true. It can't be. It's not for me. Their subjective taste can't be trusted to cover all types of films. If a particular critic prefers mid-budget dramas or rom-coms and has expressed disdain for huge studio productions, are they the right person to give you a fair assessment of a big-budget sci-fi epic? Maybe, but how would you know when their review has been ground up with other reviews into a single number? If art is subjective, how can supposedly objective numbers properly judge it? Films live or die based on undiscerning numbers rather than trusted analysis between author and reader. A number can't evoke one's emotional response to a film, their life experience, their specific tastes, or even the bad day they might have had before finally sitting down to screen a film. Add to it the question of whether their opinion, good or bad, was bought and paid for. If just one publicity company has been outed as paying for positive reviews, then you have to assume it's not an isolated event. I have to take it as possible from this point on that manipulation is rampant. So what is the solution? Go back to how it used to be. Find a critic or critics and look up their past reviews of movies you've already seen, know, and love. Older movies, classic movies, movies that haven't been promoted in a couple decades or more that publicity companies don't care about. If their assessment of those films align with yours, even imperfectly, then check out their reviews of other films, old and new, that you haven't seen or heard of, or have maybe outright dismissed. It takes time to build that trust, but a good critic will expand your cinematic horizons, knowledge, history, and introduce you to new filmmakers and new genres that you may not have otherwise tried. You can't get any of that from an aggregate percentage. All I ask is that you explore film as an art form and not as statistic-driven content. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate your time.